All right, let's look at Artemis 2. The moon, it's great to be back. Here's a taste of what the Artemis 2 astronauts photographed during their flight around the moon. Check out more photos from the mission. See the photo. Can't we see these in like, gotta be like 4K or something, right? That, and it's crazy how when you're in space you can't see the stars. When it blocks out the sun, you can see a little bit. Why is that? When you're in space taking images, why can't you see the stars? Main reason you don't see the stars in most images taken by astronauts in space is camera exposure settings, not because the stars aren't there. So they can see the stars and you just can't get an image of them. Space photos usually focus on bright subject. Sunlit astronaut in a white spacesuit, the Earth surface, or a spacecraft. These objects reflect a lot of intense sunlight, so the camera uses a short exposure time or smaller aperture to avoid exposing the main subject into pure white. Oh, so it's just the difference between what's in the image and the stars. You took an image specifically of the stars, you could see them. Have something else like a planet or a moon, person, or ship in that image. You have to change the exposure so that you can see that object. The edge of the lunar day. Look at how many times that thing's been hit. Doesn't have the atmosphere to protect it like we do. So this is the far side of the moon. They got eclipse. That. So they're on their way home now. See a little bit of stars. This one you get stars. That's so that they can like look at the sun. Ship, moon, Earth. Damn. Look at that. So far, from what I understand, other than like a clogged toilet, I got clogged with ice, things have been going pretty well. Well, that's them taking their images. This one. As we lose it behind the moon. I mean, we finally Finally going back to the moon. Look at the difference between the side we see towards us and the side away from us. Like that has been hit so many more times compared to the side we see. That's it's tidally locked. Right? It's always same. The same side is always facing us. Well, that's cool. As far as I understand, they're not really doing much up there except taking pictures. It's mostly a proof of concept kind of thing where, like, yes, we get here, it all works. Are there any problems that come up, like freezing ice toilet? How do we fix that for a longer mission where people actually land and maybe even set up a moon base? I heard the Artemis 2 rocket had an issue with the toilets. Could you go into more detail? Because this is the only issue I've heard of so far. Okay. Stop scroll. Yes, there were a couple minor issues with the toilet, actually called the Universal Waste Management System. On NASA's Artemis 2 Orion spacecraft shortly after launch and during the early days of the mission. So that means it's solved now? Artemis 2 is the crewed test flight that launched four astronauts. Okay. The first issue, shortly after launch in Earth orbit, an hours of launch while the crew low Earth orbit and performing proximity operation demonstration. They noticed blinking fault light on the toilet. Astronaut Christina Koch reported the problem to mission control. The main symptom jammed fan in the urinal collection slash processing part of the system. This fan helps with airflow to separate. Okay, as a result, the toilet could still handle solid waste. Urine collection was impaired. Astronauts had access to backup collapse contingency urinals, high tech bags as a temporary workaround. Collapsible contingency urinals. Basically bags as a temporary workaround. Like you don't want urine floating around in space. The crew, with guidance from Houston flight controllers, was able to resolve the electronic fan controller fault relatively quickly, within hours to a day. NASA confirmed the toilet was restored to normal operations after the fix. So this isn't the one I heard about. The second issue, around day 3 to 4 of the mission, the spacecraft was more than halfway to the moon. Another waste management problem appeared. Difficulty dumping urine overboard from the wastewater tank. So it could collect the urine, could not remove the urine. Oh, give me a second. Got to update some stream information. Talking Artemis. Do you have an hopefully that fixed it. Okay. So I think this is the one that I've heard about. Difficult dumping urine overboard from the wastewater tank. Flight director indicated it was likely due to frozen urine blocking the vent line. Urine can freeze in the cold vacuum exposed lines when not properly managed or heated. The crew was instructed to use backup urine collection devices overnight while controllers worked on a solution. The fix involved rotating the spacecraft, a barbecue roll maneuver, warm the frozen line by exposing it to sunlight. It's crazy how temperature change works so drastically, whether you're in the light or not. This partially cleared the blockage, allowing some urine to be vented into space. Efforts continued to fully resolve any stubborn clogs. By the latest report, the toilet was operational again for both solid and liquid waste, though NASA continued monitoring it. The wastewater tank was not full. The issue did not threaten the mission or the health. The original mission to the moon, they only had the bags. And that's how they did it. Being fancy this time, we sent them with a toilet. It had so many problems. Okay, what else do we got? New footage from shows the lunar lander's view from 60 miles, 100 kilometers above the moon. Blue Ghost will land at Chasm on the near side of the moon March 2nd. No earlier than. Okay, let's have a look at this. 1080. Have like a solar panel on unfolding there. And we're finally exploring space again. This is awesome. NASA are passing close to the. That wasn't this mission. This is their flyby? Doesn't look like they got as close to the surface of it. Man, it's crazy that we can do this. They're thinking of putting base there too. Artemis 2. I don't think we're going to come across anything more than what we've already seen. That's why they were sent. That is now officially on the dark side of the moon until someone disproves it. All the crew. Okay. There's the team. I don't think we're going to see anything else new.